ready for our third course now at the Farm to Fork Brunch. And so for this course, I've actually come to the restaurant Mame in Coral Gables, here with Chef Niven Patel. So
Hi,
good
Lynn.
to see you again.
Likewise.
It's nice to actually be behind the scenes with you this time instead of dining out front, which I always enjoy here. So our restaurant is the setting with a chef who specializes in locally produced food because you actually grow it. Is this right?
I grow it and we try to support as many local farmers as we can. So today's dish is a mixture of stuff coming from our farm and then also a farm called Tiny Farm in Homestead.
Where Roberto Grossman is doing some amazing things. And if you have a chance to check out tinyfarmmiami.com, please do. Now, when we first talked a year ago, we were going to do this brunch. And at that point, you were opening an Italian restaurant called Erba. And so porchetta seemed like a logical choice.
Yeah.
And so now, everything is sort of on hold for the moment.
Yeah.
But we still have our porchetta here, and you are going to pair it with some giardiniera. So tell me a little bit about your thoughts on pairing these two ingredients.
Yeah, so like the porchetta, like super luscious, like rich dish that has a lot of pork flavor, a lot of herbs and like saltiness going on. So to kind of cut that, I wanted to kind of have something a little bit more acidic, light, and fresh. And so that's why I think the giardiniera pairs really well with that. Kind of cuts the fat a little bit from the porchetta.
So if you don't mind opening up the porchetta to show us, now at home, everybody has 2 slices of porchetta in each meal kit and some of our giardiniera here. And Chef's going to show us how to make the giardiniera in a minute. But you've already got it pre-made. So here's our porchetta, which is basically a pork shoulder rolled up around a fabulous herb mixture that you created with rosemary and oregano and thyme, parsley.
Yeah, and kind of the secret for the porchetta is we take some of the trimmings of the pork fat, render them down, and then like smear the pork in it, roll it, and then we roast it.
It's a good Italian word, schmear.
Schmear. There you go.
You got that from working with Michael Schwartz.
There you go. Yeah, beautiful.
Great. So now, with your porchetta at home, you have 2 slices, and all you need to do to get brunch ready is basically warm it up. Is that right?
Yeah, just warm it up in a pan with a little bit of olive oil on the stove, or if you want to also warm it up in the oven, you can do it either way. But it should be a quick sear and ready to eat, so it stays nice and juicy.
So it's coming to you pre-cooked, and so no heavy cooking for the third course. You can focus on the wine and the delicious flavors.
Yeah.
So here we've got the porchetta, which, as you mentioned, has a fair amount of fattiness to it. And so acidity is our friend in wine, and it's our friend in food, too, because it cuts through fat. So therefore, tell us about the giardiniera and this gorgeous spread we have in front of us here.
So I kind of want to walk everyone through the final process, which is right here with us. It's a simple process, and I wanted to kind of share with you guys. It's like almost preserving the season. So as we're in like full growing season here in Homestead, wanted to show how you can take any vegetable really and preserve it in a way that you can use it year round. We got this like really nice sprouting cauliflower, some heirloom carrots, some herbs from the farm, and some broccolini.
Okay. And tell me about the cauliflower, because I've always associated cauliflower with a big football-sized head.
So with the heat and humidity here in Florida, even in the winter time, like this variety, it's actually from Italy also, grows a lot better because of our environment. So we can actually have a nice head like this.
Right, so you get airflow through it so you don't run into problems with mildew, anything like that.
Yep. So the first process in the giardiniera is having just like salty water. So like almost like you can there's no real recipe to it. Just have it like taste like ocean water, right? And all you do is like cut your vegetables into like manageable pieces. So let's take some of this cauliflower, some of the carrots, and we'll kind of just wedge those up.
Is it? I notice you're not peeling the carrot. That's sort of healthy to leave it with the skin on?
Yeah, like for us, like from the farm, we like wash it really nicely, and these are like more babies, so like the skin is really tender, and there's no use to having to peel it. And then we throw it into this salty water, And what we're gonna do, we're gonna take some of the broccolini also, just cut it. And even the broccolini, like the stems are younger, so they're still gonna be tender. So you don't have to throw those out either. And we can just throw all this in there. And then I'm gonna kind of speed up the process, but normally you have this in the salty water overnight.
Okay.
So what you're doing by throwing it in the water and letting it sit overnight, you're extracting some of the natural water that's in the vegetable and also salting it at the same time.
Okay.
And what it does is it's almost like preserving it, helping preserve the vegetable. And then let's just fast forward to the next day. And if like the next day, what we're gonna do, I'm gonna have a Ziploc bag here. And we're basically just gonna have all our, like obviously this is a smaller batch, but like you can do a bigger batch. And you're just gonna take your vegetables that are in the salty water and you're just gonna drain them good. Just like that. And now see, like these vegetables are already salted, so like our recipe as we move forward doesn't need any salt or anything like that. And then you're gonna have your vegetables that are in the water, and we're just gonna do like 1 cup of olive oil.
1 cup of olive oil, okay.
And then we're going to do 3/4 of a cup of vinegar. We use champagne vinegar here.
Okay, 3/4 of a cup of vinegar.
It's
And
almost a 50-50 blend.
We'll have the specific recipe for this posted for you as well.
And I like a little heat in the giardiniera, so we take a little bit of chili flake. and we
Any
give it-
particular kind you like?
I like, this is like the normal red chili flake.
Okay.
We don't have to get too crazy.
I don't have
with
to
that.
go haul out my Calabrian chilies
No,
and
we
go
don't
all
need to do
Italian.
that.
Okay.
And then all we do is like imagine a fuller bag, and you're just gonna try to push out as much oil, as much air as you can out of it. Just like that. And honestly, like this way right here, you can keep it in your fridge for like months. And just once in a while, just give it a stir. And the longer it sits, it just gets more marinated and beautiful. And as it sits, like all the vinegar and the oils, oh, I forgot one thing, I'm sorry. We have these beautiful herbs from our farm, which is like some sage and oregano. It's always good to add some aromatic herbs to it. Adds like another layer to it.
If you walk by the table here, you can
Yeah.
smell the oregano and the sage. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, we're just gonna like lightly like press on it so it kind of bruises the herbs a little bit. And then you wanna give it a smell? How does that go?
Oh, beautiful.
Right?
Yum. Smells fresh.
Yeah. And we're just gonna take out the air. You basically just let it sit in the fridge and you have an awesome like snack anytime you
So
want.
what's the minimum time that you need to let it pickle?
At least a week, I
Okay.
would say.
Great.
Minimum. The one that we're having here is actually from a harvest about a month and a half ago that we had.
Okay.
So like in the carrots that we have some heirloom carrots that are from Roberto's farm. And then there's this red one here.
This is from Rancho Patel?
This is from my house, the Rancho Patel.
Okay.
It's actually a very special variety of seed that I brought back from India.
How cool.
And it's a special carrot, so when you try it, you'll enjoy it.
We're becoming more than Italian here
Yes.
with this. All right, and you've
Yeah.
got some of these amazing beans in here too. They're very
Yeah,
crunchy.
so when we harvested about a month and a half ago, we had these beautiful Romano beans. Like for me, Romano beans are like the king of beans.
Okay.
I love them. They're not, I didn't have any, we had already harvested everything. So
Okay.
you guys are lucky to have these. They're delicious. Would
Beautiful.
you like to try?
I would, thank
There you
you. I'm salivating here
yes.
as we're making this video.
And the great thing about this is like, it's all raw vegetables, but the texture still stays crunchy. Delicious.
Beautiful.
And then kind of to plate up the dish, we have the porchetta. We're just gonna put some of these vegetables all over it.
Forceps are optional. I'm really going to go on Amazon
still
right
wanna
after
use
this
my
though and
hand.
order some.
Yeah. We're just gonna do that. And then also on the bottom, you'll have some of the liquid that you just wanna, some of the olive oil and vinegar mix. Just kind of pour it all over it.
And this is after we've warmed our porchetta, and it is that simple to make course 3 of your brunch. Wow.
Yeah, easy enough.
Tell me a little bit about how you got into farming, because you have your own ranch. Now you have enough restaurants you're buying from others as well.
So when I was actually working at Michael's with Michael Schwartz, I really got into the farm to table and farming movement, and I was living in Homestead and had a decent sized property. And one day, one of my line cooks, they were using an heirloom tomato that we actually had from Boric. He kind of grows the best tomatoes in South Florida, in my opinion. And the cook, cut half the tomato, put it on a plate, the other half he threw it in the trash.
Oh!
And I almost went crazy. But then I realized, most people, even our cooks that use this amazing product on a daily basis, don't really appreciate or understand what it takes to grow this So I started a little plot in our backyard, had all the cooks come out in the summertime and help me kind of create the infrastructure for it. And every year it's just gotten bigger and bigger and more intense, and I love it.
That is amazing. Any new crops you're particularly excited to be growing, something maybe you've just added?
Well, this year I focused a lot on flowers. I've never done a lot of flowers. And just kind of in these crazy times, I just wanted something easy that I can go in the backyard and really enjoy nature. And so it's a lot of different edible flowers like nasturtiums and marigolds, and then just a lot of sunflowers and things like that.
It's funny. I think flowers bring people joy. They almost give us permission to be elated. Yeah. When I walked in the restaurant today, you had just brought in a box because the young lady who is at the hostess desk had these beautiful flowers, and I said something about them, and she said, "Aren't they fabulous? They brighten the whole restaurant. Chef brings them in and shares them with us." So they're so excited too.
Yeah. That's what it's all about.
So the local product now, are you finding more farms, we've always been a big agricultural area, but are more of these small farms now popping up?
Oh yeah, they are, and it's through community support, Roberto from Tiny Farm, he has a very big, and I think a lot of local farmers through this pandemic have kind of turned to the direct-to-consumer market, and going to direct to households through their CSAs and things like that. And it's been awesome to see the local residential community really support these smaller farmers. We even have a CSA pickup here every Saturday.
That's right. This is where I get my box from Tiny Farm.
Yeah. So it makes it easier for them to just drop it off at one location instead of having to deliver to everyone's door.
So it's another service you're providing us, so thank you for that. Chef, wonderful to have you with us for the brunch. It's been a year in the making, and now we're finally able to enjoy truly farm to fork, and here is both Mr. Farm and Mr. Fork.
Oh, thank you so much.
This is great to have you.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Anytime.